All right. Now we're on. I think I've gone through it enough. Just in the event that somebody is still having kind of an issue, I'll go through one more time getting to VMware. Now, if anybody is, so what we'll need to do is do VMware, get on it, then go to Google, log into Canvas, click on the invitation to the meeting, you'll be able to see the screen I've got, okay? So I'll start that, and this the password, this is the last time I'll do it, so hopefully we'll be all accustomed. It's OBU and then lab, 1, 2, 3, and then the exclamation point. Now, we're going to click on the VMware Horizon client. That's the cloud client. And they're going to ask you for your login. You're going to do the same login again. Now, you'll want to right click and then launch it. Now, you may get a little dialog box that pops up about the printer. Just click X on it. And at this point now, the screen is going to go black and it's going to start this welcome thing. And then it's going to prepare Windows. And what we're doing is we're all of us are logging into a virtual server that's provided by one of our vendors, VMware, and they have Microsoft Office Suite products and some other products. If you should be using OBU email, and if I'm not mistaken, we have Office 365 on it. So you may want to take a look at like the calendar function if you haven't used it. Use the mail. So like I said, once you've got the software, then you'll have a Chrome pop up, and then you can go over to a Canvas, log into Canvas, then go into the announcements section, click that link for the invitation, and see my screen. I'm still diligently trying to pursue a diplomatic resolution of this. At a certain point, there's that pesky thing about the printer access. Now, as you log into as you log into Canvas and you go down to week 3, which is where we're at, you're going to see the 2 hands-on assignments that we have this week. That's the one that says upload here. And then the 2 chapters from the Snyder text, that's the fluency and information text, and then that self-developed quiz. And we're going to be doing a series of exercises here with a file called Celebrity Souvenir Shop. And we're going to, so for example, for today, when you'll download that file. It's over in the files section of Canvas. You'll find it. And we'll do some work today for this, and you'll want to use your last name and then hands-on 0 to name it like that, because you're going to use a fresh file each time. I think they want us, I think if I recall when I looked at this, the authors are kind of trying to walk us through kind of a semi-simulation, if you will, having us use this file for a number of hands-on exercises. So if you want to, you could do 2 things. Once you download the file and then you've saved it, etc., and once we've done the workshop, then upload it, and then the file, then also you could attach it and send yourself an email so you could start over where we are. Am I making sense? Because they keep referring us back to a file you've been working on. If you choose not to do that, that's okay. We're going to get acquainted with Excel, and I understand the author's feelings or their technique here. They're going to get you used to working with Excel, but also within a familiar environment, i.e., pardon me, the celebrity souvenir shop file. Okay, make sense? Yeah. Okay. Now, if you've beamed into the meeting, you should be able to see my screen. And I'm not seeing enough participants yet, so, but, and then I'll record the video, so if something happens, you know, you'll always have you'll have the video there to fall back on. Now, I'm going to go into the Files section of Canvas, and I'm going to look for the Celebrity Souvenir file. It's an XLS file, i.e. an Excel file, and I'm going to start on page 310. And you need to have your handbook, you need to have your book with you, because again, it's going to walk you through detailed explanations, that it will provide you some additional background about a particular feature or function that we're going to use, that type of thing. Let me say this, you can work with Excel all of your life and never use all of its features and functions. I've worked with it since it was invented, and I can tell you now, I still learn new stuff every day about functions I've used or formatting or any one of a number of things, and they keep adding features to it. Here's the important thing that we're trying to get across to you. If you become comfortable working with Excel, and by comfortable, what I mean is there's some stuff you could do, mostly, you know, file management things, editing data, etc. But if you get used to using the help features, and you get and you come to an understanding of the bar and the tree system that's used, that's 90% of the game. Because virtually almost every function in Excel and every feature in Excel, you're going to find help at Microsoft Office, you'll find stuff out at YouTube, etc. And as I've said before, it's the mother of all spreadsheets, okay? And because it is, it prepares you to work, to go out to work and be able to work with just about any type of what we call, what would be technically called an analytic engine and visualization engine, meaning Excel is designed to analyze data, and it's designed to visually present data so you can turn that into information and make a decision. Does that make sense? Just like as we work with Access, Access is a database. It's the mother of all databases. And for all intents and purposes, a database is a tool designed to collect, categorize, and extract information, extract data, which you can then compute. In other words, analyze it, compute statistics, etc., put it in tables. Now, the holy grail for everybody is the best of the world of databases and what we call also data warehouses, and the best of an analytic engine, say like an Excel, combining the two of them. And there are some products out there that are commercial products. SAP has a product. SAS Visual Analytics is another tool that's out there that many of you will run into at work. Also, Oracle has its own client, and then there's some others that are just don't have the market share, but they're pretty effective. Okay? But this whole idea, and this is the reason why I've added in an element about dashboards, because a dashboard, when you go to work, you're going to see a dashboard, and the dashboard, for all intents and purposes, is there because there was some data collected, put into some type of storage bin, probably a database. Then they're extracted out for you to see and then make decisions based upon what you see. The type of dashboard or what those elements are going to depend upon your level in the company where you work. So we try to get you used to, basically, as I've said many, many times, this is like learning how to drive a car. We'll teach you how to drive one that's got an automatic. We'll teach you how to drive one that's got a standard, but you can drive a car. Once you've done that, you can drive you can go get your CAC license and drive a big truck or a semi. You can go get trained and get the experience to drive a Ferrari and not wrap yourself around a tree. But learning to drive the car is the first step. And so we put you a little bit ahead of the game when you go to work, because you have that understanding, hopefully, and you understand how to work with things like databases and what they can do. Well, over on page 310, they give us an introduction to Excel and creating and formatting a worksheet. And what we're going to just basically do is we're going to work around with this celebrity souvenirs file and just kind of take a tour, maybe do some manipulation of some data, edit it just a little bit. Now, a long time ago, I worked for a firm that did mergers and acquisitions, and I was one of what they called the cash flow specialists. And so I worked with a team of people, and what we did is we tried to figure out, okay, if these two companies merge or if one buys the other, will the resulting new company or new entity that's formed generate the cash flow to pay for the acquisition, or can we justify the action based on the new cash flows that we created? It would take us 3 months to produce 5 scenarios for the clients. When we got Excel, in the last case that I worked on, I stopped because the liability just got, I was paying more in liability insurance than what I was making. So we could run a simulation of the cash flow for that company if they did the acquisition based on the model we developed and all that. We could simulate that thing out 1,000 times. And when we had that type of a capability, we could really show them, here's the fullest range of possible outcomes we can give you. Okay? And that was when I really understood, wow, business has really changed. Then came databases. But Excel is an incredible tool, so we're going to start with this here file called Celebrity Souvenir. It's right over here in the Files section. And I'm going to download it, okay, to my desktop. As you know me, I work in Chrome, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to show it in the folder, and I'm going to stick it on my desktop. Okay. Then I'm going to grab that jewel, and I'm going to open it up and save it to my desktop. Okay. Everybody with me so far? Okay. Now, when you open that file up, you're going to get the thing, Enable Editing. Click that. And then we're going to save it. And then we're going to baptize it. All right. I'm just trying to integrate faithful learning as I'm supposed to. I'm going to click Save As. And I'm on my PC. And I'm going to put it on the desktop. And you'll notice it says Celebrity Souvenir Shop. And I'm going to put, for this hands-on exercise, I'm going to put Armin, Keith, hands-on on one. Okay? And now, once I've worked this file today, what will I do with it? How many of you think I should just delete it? How many of you are going to upload it for the credit? Okay. And how many of you will email it to yourself in the event we decide to just do the continuing saga of the Celebrity Souvenir Shop? Yep. Okay. So I've got it saved here, and I'm going to make sure it's on my desktop, and I'll save it. And there's the file. Now, when you open it up and you've saved it with your name, you're going to see the basic elements of this file, some of them, okay? And they show you this over on page 311. And this is the Celebrity Musicians Souvenir Shop, basic XLS file, Now, probably many of you have had quite a bit of experience with Excel, and I understand that. I've worked with it, like I said, ever since it was invented, okay? But I couldn't work with it too well because they hadn't invented electricity, so it made it difficult. So I enlisted every squirrel in the state of Oklahoma, and it was able to generate enough friction. That's not the truth. They had electricity. They had just gotten it. Anyway, let's take a look at this thing, and let's look at the parts of a spreadsheet, because when a spreadsheet, and technically this is a workbook, pardon me. The whole thing is a workbook. Then these sheets are the spreadsheets. Now, every spreadsheet or tab within a workbook should be organized as the following. I need some kind of documentation. What's the name of this thing? I should also have something that tells me who owns this or who created it. Okay, so that's missing. So you could put in your name at the top. You might like to go over there, say to let's go to column K, and I'm going to put okay. I misspelled my own name. Okay. Now, I'm the one that created it. Now, if you come down to row 2, you're going to see that the A through J2 has a date on it, okay? And it has that all, they've used the merge and center function, which is right here. Everybody see my cursor in the merge and center function? And gives it a nice title. So far, so good. Now we have some documentation on this, and we can go one of two ways. They have a date in there that's tied, that's 9/2/2021. Okay. There's maybe another way if you want to do a date and time stamp. Maybe some of you know this, maybe you don't. I never know. And then parentheses, boom, and it will give me the current date. I used the now function in Excel. When I close this file, if I open it up in 2 days, it will tell me today is the 12th. It's a date and time function. I can add some other elements like the day, the hour, and the minute, and all that stuff, but I just put the date in there. You say, why would I do this? Well, you may get to work on the thing and forget to change the date. You with me? So I'm going to save that piece right there where I've made. I'm just going to click save and then go back. And so far, so good. So I have a title for this. I have my name, the owner, over here. I've used the now function to date stamp it. And one piece missing here is some kind of description of what we're doing. Now, you say, well, how would I do that? Well, you could click Insert, and you could insert a text box and explain what this is for and what you're doing. In fact, you might even indicate the cells that you're doing certain things in. Now, you say, what are you talking about? Well, if you take a look over there in page 312, okay, and 313, they're going to start to talk about designing a spreadsheet within a workbook. And they're going to tell you it's going to have certain kinds of elements if it's well designed. All right? Now, the first thing I would do is I'd start with this, and I'd rename this tab. And I'm just going to rename this data. Okay. And I'll just save it. Why? Because that's where I have my data. Got me? Now, the next thing is, and you could put some verbiage in here. I'm just going to put, this is where I explain what this is about. I'm providing myself some documentation. Okay? So far, so good. Now, I know this seems very rudimentary and elementary, but trust me, one day when you're out at work and you get a spreadsheet from somebody and you look at it and you go, what's going on here? What are we doing? Who made this? How long has it been in existence? What's it supposed to tell me? And you're going to get those. Then you get the pleasure of trying to decipher it or write the sender back and go, you know, you sent me this file, and I'm not quite sure what's going on here. You with me? It's just fundamental, just very fundamental kinds of things. So now, every spreadsheet in a workbook is going to have the following elements. It's going to have an input area, really what I would call an input and computation area, and it's going to have an output area and an interpretation area. Now that differs a little bit from what, as you read the text, what your authors will tell you, okay? But every well-designed spreadsheet's going to have this. Now, if you take a look here, and let's look here for just a moment and take a look at, and you've got this product, okay? These are, we have column A, column B. Those are input areas because you'll notice column A and B, they just have data. And how I know? I just go right down here. And I don't see any formulas. Now over here on the product, I see words that tell me, oh, okay, this is stuff we sell, and here's what it costs us. So far, so good? Now when I go over here to the next column, and that's going to be column C, I'm in the markup rate. I buy stuff, and these folks are retailers, so they buy stuff from their suppliers and then they resell it to the public. And if you come down, you're going to see then the markup rate. Now, that's an input as well. And we're going to use the cost and the markup rate to get the next thing, and that's going to be the retail price. And the retail price is an output. Got it? Now, you're going to notice here it's using the sum function. Probably all of you have done that, and they're doing this a little bit differently. They've got the sum B5, comma D5, and got that within the parentheses for the sum function. Okay, or you could put it equals sell plus sell. Doesn't matter. The sum function is just a little bit cleaner and a little bit easier. With me so far? Now, if you take a look at the top of page 3, you look at page 312, you're going to see they show you several of the little features and functions there, like select all. So if I'm going to select everything in a spreadsheet, I click there. They show us the name box, and the name box tells us what cell we're operating in. This is probably all. There's a feature here to collapse the ribbon. You probably don't want to do that. You can increase or decrease the size of the formula area. And if you start working with some fairly large formulas, I'd say, hey, go ahead and size it out as, you know, to what meets your needs. Oh, they've got the view and zoom. That's down here at the bottom. The slider is what I call it. Bottom right-hand corner. You've got sheet tab navigation tools. You've got 3 sheets here. You've got the data sheet. If you want to add a sheet, you can. You want to copy, rename them, and all that business. Status bar, it's ready. Then the columns, which I'm certain all of you know, these columns are adjustable. If you want to adjust the size of them, you just simply put your cursor there and you see the little grappling hook, where I can size it. If I want to resize the width, same story on the rows. Okay? Now, it's important to understand a couple of things. The difference between what's displayed in a spreadsheet and what's in the formula. And I'm going to show you here for a minute. Put your cursor on D4, and you'll notice that there is an operation. And it says B5 times C5. Now, you'll notice if you look down in D4, you see a figure, but up in the formula area, you see the formula. Okay? What you see down here in the results area is what we call a view, and down in the formula area is a formula of some type that you use to do the computation. Now, it's helpful for you to see that, so you can kind of look under the hood of, well, what have I got? How did I get that? Well, it's down there. Another thing that's helpful for you is to click in this formula bar, and watch what will happen. The cells will go hot, and you'll get a color output. And the more colors you add, the more cells that you get involved, you'll get more and more colors. Typically, it's going to be, I think, a red, blue, and a green, something like that. That'll help you identify which cells you're working with. Got it? Probably know all this before, but there may be some of us that don't, or don't understand this whole idea of the display. That's what's here in the area, in the intersection of these columns and rows, versus what's up here in the formula area. Okay? You with me? Now, as I've told you before, there are a lot of times when I see something that looks really good, I tend to just simply do reverse engineering and find out what happened. I'm going to click here in cell E5, okay? And I see there's the formula. It's the sum of B5 and D5, correct? There's also something in terms of the formatting. Well, how's it formatted? If I like what I see, I can go right back up here and I can see the number format. And what format is it in? It's in accounting. Could I change that to a different format? Certainly. Whatever works for me is best. If I'm working with some numbers, and if I wanted to round these, I can come right below, and I'm sure you know this already. You can decrease the decimal or increase it. Accounting will just give you a dollar sign and then behind the decimal two places. You can use scientific notation. Whatever is working there for you is what's going to help. So far, so good? So now, I want you to notice something that the authors did here. If you look at the array F4 down to G12, you'll notice that they have a text box. They have a text box around it. And you say, well, how did they do that? Well, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to find out where they do the text box thing. Okay, I'm going to find that. And it's around here somewhere. There's wrap text. There it is. It's over in the bottom, in the border. I have a bottom border. And I can choose a thick outside double border if I want to. So I can put borders on these data. Now, the folks who put this together, okay, had a purpose in drawing our attention to these two columns. First of all, they want us, I guess they're running a sale of some type, or maybe they have, I didn't read the narrative of this, but they're running a sale, or maybe they have preferred customers who get 15% off. You have a percentage off for each of those apparels, like the hat, the hoodie, the t-shirt, and then the mug, the souvenir program, and the travel mug. So here's a percent we take off. Here's the sales price. Got it? So if this is what it's all about, then over here in this text box, this is where I should be explaining what's going on. You with me so far? Now, if you look at the top of page 313, you will see a dizzying, overwhelming array of stuff about Excel elements. Most of it is intuitive. The icons are designed to show you, what you're looking at. And you probably have worked with it enough that you understand what you're seeing when you're looking at those. So if you have things like borders, for example, this is where over time you get some experience, or you work in a particular environment. And if you're working with Excel, you'll become second nature to say, I ought to put a double, I should put, these are accounting data. So if I'm going to sum these accounting data right here, I'm going to use a double underscore, just like an accountant does. If I want to know what's the total retail price for the apparel stuff versus the total retail price for the souvenirs. Got me? So far, so good. Now, if we look over here, you're going to see the profit amount. And I want you to click on the formula bar so you can see the two cells that are involved. Okay? Now, I want you to notice something about the cell referencing. And again, this may be something you know. And I do apologize if some of this is rudimentary to you. You come to me from everywhere, okay? And so I don't know exactly what you've had much haven't. So I have to kind of cover some stuff maybe you've covered before or you're aware of. So please don't take this as me thinking you're a bunch of goofs that have never worked with Excel. I don't know the experience-based people have as they come in here, okay? And I'll often end up in this class, folks from different majors, et cetera, so I just don't know. So I try to make sure I cover the bases to a certain point. Now, if you look there in those two, the dollar signs that are in front of G5 and the dollar sign in front of B5, what does that dollar sign mean? Okay, that's a good guess. Close. What else does it mean? Or what might it really mean for sure? Doesn't mean a money amount. It's involved, it was a good guess because you're using a dollar sign. It's involved with how we're doing cell referencing. Okay? When I put a dollar sign in front of a column like dollar sign B, what that means is I say, okay, I'm working in column B. And I'm telling Excel, don't worry about the row, I'm just working in column B. That's what we call a relative reference. You say, could I have a relative reference on a row? Yes. If I put a dollar sign in front of the number, i.e. the row, then it says I'm working in the row. If I put a dollar sign in front of them, I have a pure absolute cell reference, which means this cell is somehow it's important, it's a constant of some type, boom, and I'm using it inside of some type of calculations. It's that issue of dragging and dropping things. Question?
Just to clear up what you said, if you put a dollar sign in front of like the number 5, you're only working on the rows.
Yes. So as you do a calculation, if you do the drag and drop, you'll stay on the row. If you have the dollar sign in front of the column, that is the letter, you'll stay on that column. That way you don't have it all over the place. And let's just do that for a moment. Let's go ahead and come down here to cell E12, and let's put well, all right, let's put equal, and we're going to put a dollar sign, and we're going to put H5. Okay? Got that? Now, click the input, and you get 621. Okay? Now, if I want to, I can go ahead and I'll try to drag and drop this on down and see what I get. And notice something. When I did the drag and drop, I got equals H5 equals H6 equals H7 equals H8, which is nothing there, which equals H9, nothing there, and equals H10. It stayed in the column, but it went through the different rows. That's what we would call a column-oriented relative reference. If I put the $sign in front of the number, I'd have a row-oriented relative reference. If I put $signs in front of the column and the row, I basically stick a donkey's pin in that cell and say, it's not going either way. That's like a constant. Does that make sense? Yes? So when I have a long set of numbers, once you get cell referencing down, when you start to have to work with a large set of numbers, you just do the right. If you do the correct relative referencing, boom, you just blow right through it. Okay? Now I'm ready. If I want to, I can sum those columns, and that's all I've got to do. Now, if I do something like just then, where I change the page layout, I can just come back up here to the corner, left-hand corner, and undo it. No need to panic and go through a bunch of stuff. You've got the redo and the undo. And I'm gonna highlight these cells and come down, and I'm gonna do the auto sum. That's 5521. Okay? Questions? Make sense so far? Okay, we're just kind of taking a bit of a trip around this. Now, I'm going to save that because I've done a little bit of work with the cell referencing. Now, if you look over here also in column H, all right, we've got more output area, and then in column I have more output. You follow me? So I've got the profit amount for each item, and then I have the profit margin for each item. That's what's going on here. So far, so good? Now, if you come over to page 314, at the bottom of 314 is yet another overwhelming display of all of the keystrokes you can use in Excel. I use a mouse. I do not like scrolling with my finger. I never learned to play a banjo, which I wanted to learn to play, so I resent having to use my finger to compute, even on my phone. If I could just use a stylus, I would. So I use a little mouse. Okay? The rest of you may choose not to do that if you have your tablet or your Apple or whatever you want to enjoy. Okay? But they've got all of these keystrokes, all right, and including the hotkeys like Control Home and Control End and page Control and page down, page up, etc. They've got it for Mac and for PCs, and it tells you what that's all about. And that's just a matter of individual preference. Fair enough? That's all there is to it. Now, we're going to list one of these tools that, this is page 315, and we're going to go, one of these tools that's helpful for us because it can really simplify our lives, and that's the name manager. Now, in the middle of page 315, the authors tell you about using the go-to box, and then they identify a list of range names. Okay? They included that in this book because I wrote them and said, you don't have anything in here about cowboys. So they said, we'll cover the range names. You don't believe me, do you? Are you having as much fun as I am? If you tell me that you are, I would really suggest go see Student Services. Now, this won't be fun or exhilarating until your heart's thumping, you got to report, you got to do some computations, etc. And then you remember back to this class, you go, oh, okay, now I remember all about that. Or your boss says, put together a worksheet on X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 and have it to me next week. You'll go, wow, I'm so glad I kind of understand how to put one together. This is not too badly done. It's decent. It could be better. But we're going to do one of the things to make it better, and we're going to use the name manager. How many of you ever have used the name manager? We're about to take a fun trip. Click on the Formulas tab, and you'll see a thing called the name manager. You see it? You'll also see a thing up there called Define Name. Let's start with Define Name. And I'm going to click the Define Name. And I get the New Name dialog box. And this is called Profit Margin. Why? Well, because it's the profit margin for apparel. Okay, and I'm gonna go down here to cell. I'm gonna go to the cell below it, and I've got it equals I5, and that's profit margin. And I'm going to change that name, Profit Margin Hats. You'll notice the underscore, I'm lazy. I just press the whole set of numbers, the whole file name together, or the area name. Or you can write underscores for the rest of your life. You know, that's your call. But now I've defined that cell I6, should be I5. I want I5. No, it's I6 for the hat. Yeah, that's the profit margin hats. And notice I kind of have a Children of the Corn spelling going on there, a little bit underscore, upscore. How many of you have ever know about the Children of the Corn? Ever heard the movie, seen it? Oh, we got a few people here. Okay, y'all are into all that other stuff now. Now click OK. And I've just now given that cell 6, cell I6 is I've named it. Now I can do something kind of cool with it. I can use it in a formula. Watch what I'm going to do. I'll click Use in Formula and Profit Margin Hats. Let's say I have a goal. I want to profit margin of an additional $2. Well, what would that be? So I use Profit Margin Hats plus 2, and I get my answer. Okay. Well, it didn't want to play nice with me there. I'll go back out of here for just a second. I'm going to use the profit. Yeah, go back into the name manager for a second. And you'll see that Profit Margin Hats. You can delete it. But you're asking me, okay, so I can go into one of these cells and one of these outputs or variables, I can name it and then use it in a formula. Yes. Which is easier to see, Profit Margin Hats plus 2 or cell Z58 plus 2? Which one makes more sense to you? The name manager. Yeah. So you'll want to use that. We'll delete this one. All right. But we're going to do something. We're going to define a range. So click on the name manager and click New. Okay. And we're going to call this cost. All right. And cost is going to be everything in column B starting at B5 down to B12. So that array of cells, B5 to B12, is what I call cost. So I've defined that range. Now, personally, what's occurred for me is that defining the name of a cell has been far more useful for me than doing a range of names of cell, a range, taking a group of cells, an array of them, and calling it a name. But the authors want to show off and have you do it because we're going to do the go-to function here in just a moment. Okay, so click OK, and you'll see the name manager, and we have cost. This is not too impressive to you, I know, until you end up with a spreadsheet that has 8 columns and 700 to 1,000 rows. And then all of a sudden you'll go, whoa, thank God for the name manager, because it defines for me where to find this stuff and where to go to it. That's the next thing we're going to use is the go-to function. So click on the Home tab, okay? And then you're going to come over here and you're going to click under Find and Select. See the little hourglass, the little spyglass thing? Far right-hand corner, top of the ribbon. With me? And we're going to do Go-To. Now, the Go-To function is not something you use when you're telling someone your feelings about their idea or them. This is a navigation aid. So I'm going to go to, and I want to find where's cost. I'll click Cost, and I'll click OK, and boom, takes me right there. I know, not impressive, but one of these days when you're at work and you have 8 columns here and you've got 1,000 rows, there's 1,000 records, and you've got 8,000 total records, and you want to go to, say, a particular thing, you can go. Now we're going to do a freelance on this deal. So click Find and Select, and we're going to go to, and this time we're going to go to a reference, and I'm going to try the word hat. Let's see if it'll take us there. Oh, it wants a string identified with it. So I may need to do the go-to special. The other is simple as this. Use a Control F and find hat. And as we saw in Microsoft Word, it's the same feature here in Excel. If you want, boom, you can replace it if you have a misspelled word or you have something that's changed. I'll take you right there. That's just a navigational aid. So we're basically done what's over there in 315. Anybody scared now? I didn't think you would be. All righty. Now the authors are going to walk us through a mind-numbing experience of entering data and entering and editing cell data. Okay? Now, if you don't understand this part, please come see me. Okay? I'm going to click up here in B5, and that figure is 795. If I want to edit this cell, I just simply come up here in the toolbar and I can edit. Or if I want, I could, well, once I'm here in the toolbar, I'm going to be underneath the engine, so I just put in the new figure. And I'm going to change that from 795 to 799. And watch what happens. It's magic. Everything changes for that variable. Amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. Because you just simply, that cost is an anchor for everything, because this spreadsheet is horizontally oriented. Meaning, if I have apparel, and I have souvenirs, and then underneath each of these I have these data, and they flow horizontally. Watch what happens. I have the cost, and I'm going to go back to the original cost. And then I have the orientation here is going to be to C5. So it's B5. And notice I'm still on row 5, the orientation. Then here's a percentage figure entered. And then here we're still on row 5, the sale price. The profit, we're still on row 5, the profit margin. So we've oriented this horizontally. And if you go through apparel, you go through hat, hoodie, t-shirt, don't have any data in there for t-shirts, okay? Now, let's do something for just a moment. And let's see, what do I want to do? Let's go, click back on Chrome, okay? And let's go over to Chrome. And and your browser, and I'm gonna add, and I'm gonna put Nightmare on Elm Street. Elm Street. Oh, they have a 2018. I'm going to have to see that if wife will let me. All right, Nightmare on Elm Street apparel. Let's see what's out there. Oh, look, cool, huh? You got images. You've got all kinds of stuff you can look at, and you can find out how much they cost. And so here in your celebrity souvenir shop, Freddy Krueger is not a musician. I get it. I understand that. Although I bet you that if you really knew the truth about him, I would say that he strikes me as a mandolin player. I bet he likes bluegrass. Anybody here a bluegrass fan? One? Very good. Good. If you're not experienced bluegrass or listen to it, go out. Listen to some good bluegrass. It will blow your mind how good those people are and the music they can make. And they've got new stuff that you'll like. Young people like you that they play those instruments. And it's just like amazing virtuosity. Well, here's a Nightmare on Elm Street t-shirt. In fact, here's somebody in one. Is that Baker Mayfield? No, I thought it was. It's not. Oh, let's look on that one. Oh, you get a close-up. Oh, he looks scary. How about, what do you think? He looks scary. He got something going on. He's got a horn there in that head thing. Look at that. See? All right. Nonetheless, let's drop that mirth and go back to work. So we got t-shirts, so we could enter the data for the t-shirts, and we could go through the mind-numbing exercise of putting in figures for each of those. And I think either this case or in the next one, the authors are going to have you do that. Everybody know how to enter a figure in Excel here? Okay. Just enter the number in, and boom. I want to show you something. Let's say the t-shirts run $6. If the t-shirts for Freddie run $6, how much? $6 and, come on, work with me here. Exactly, $6.66. Thank you. You're absolutely right. 6.66. Okay. Now let's look at here, and let's see. Did you see what just happened? It's magic. Excel just formatted that as an accounting data. Well, I didn't ask it to, but it did. Why? It's because there are demons inside these machines, and you need to be careful of them. That's why they have wizards. If you have a computer or a tablet, a laptop or tablet, even your phone, set it down some night, and in the middle of the night, crawl out of your bed real quietly. Crawl over to where you've got it set and listen, and you'll hear them laughing. I've heard them laughing. Have you? No? Well, one of the features that's in here is it has an intuitive feature where it assumes if I'm working in an adjacent cell and I have a particular format and I put in something that resembles what's in the adjacent cell, it'll just format it for me correctly. Nice, huh? That's called artificial intelligence. Well, we can come over here, we can put some more prices in here, the markup rate for the t-shirts, whatever you'd want to choose. And so let's do that. And I'm going to mark up the t-shirts 500%. Let's see what happens. Look at that. Whoo-wee. 500%. So now if I want to get the markup amount, the dollars in the markup, how do I calculate that?
B8 times C8.
Okay, I'm going to take B8 times C8. Very good. So I'm going to put in here, I'm going to put equal. Now I'm going to make it easy on myself, and I'm just going to click on B8, and then I'm going to put a little star in there, because that means the multiply deal. And then I'm going to click on cell C8, and voila. So that t-shirt that was $6.66, I'm selling to people for $33.30. And because it's Freddy Krueger, you'll sell out. How many of you have ever seen Nightmare on Elm Street? Oh, you're watching all these movies now about the people that come in from Mars and they invade us, or the emergence. I've seen that movie where the emergence deal, or what's the other thing? It's like aliens are going to take us over. They're already here. I believe that. How many of you believe there are aliens here? I believe that. I know. I think my neighbors are. I've been watching them. I'm just making a joke. But you got that film, that emergence thing, and oh, mercy. If you want to know about a real life monster, I'll tell you about one. It's called a hog. From the time I was 11 till the time I graduated high school, every summer my mom and dad shipped me off to my grandma's farm up in Iowa, Eddyville, Iowa. Population a few hundred. And I shucked corn, okay, to feed the hogs, which meant I put on a pair of hip waders and I went into the middle of this real muddy place where there's a bunch of hogs. The hogs, anybody here worked with a hog? Raised them, seen them, been around them? They're big, nasty creatures, aren't they? And they can hurt you. If they knock you down, they can trample you to death. So I had to do that for 7 years. I'd go get the shovel and feed them and throw it in the trough for them to eat. I think my parents were trying to teach me something about the parable of the prodigal son. I'm not quite sure. I suspected that. And the pile never got smaller. Hogs, nasty, nasty little creatures. So when I have bacon, I'm celebrating every time. Anything I eat with bacon, I do it. My first year, I was 11, but a wee lad dealing with 500 and 600 pound creatures, man, they were knocking me all over. Went home, both sides of my legs were black and blue and bruised. And my mom looked at me and said, yeah, it's kind of what it looked like when I was growing up. Thanks a lot. Yes. Anybody? Anybody here heard of Dog the Bounty Hunter? Any fans of Dog the Bounty Hunter? Of course, he's just tragically lost his wife. I really do relate to him for a simple reason. By the time I was 6, I had found my parents when they moved at least 3 times. Think about it. I was kidnapped once. Did you know that? And the kidnappers paid my parents to take me back. I was a handful. I was a little kid. All right, so we've entered a couple of bits of data, so let's save our here file. So when they say, well, what did you learn up there at that OBU? You could say, well, I learned about the design of a worksheet. I learned about relative cell referencing. I learned about how to use formatting. I learned about adjacent formatting that's built into Excel, which is a form of artificial intelligence. And so your friends at the other big schools, they won't ask you anymore, will they? Okay. All righty. So we've entered a little bit of data. Now the authors walk you through some beeswax here about the 317, about entering text, templates and themes, and yada, yada, yada. And the spelling dialog box to do the check. Let's click on review. Click on the review tab and you'll see you can do a spell check. There's also a thesaurus there. You know what a thesaurus is, right? Got all the different words you can use. I don't believe this is true, but this is what the dean told me, is that you can use a thesaurus to say things to people very, very ugly, but they'd never realize how ugly you were being. He didn't do that, no. Are there any Enactus members in here? One? Y'all left donuts the other day, and the pack of wolves descended on them. They're gone. It wasn't an hour and a half. I got to work, there's an email. There's some donuts over here. I walk over and it's cleaned out. Looked like someone had taken a box and gotten even the little things on there. So what type of donuts were there? Cake donuts? You didn't eat any? Oh, how many? Have you been brainwashed not to eat good food, fun food? You weren't hungry. Okay, all right. Next time if you go and Enactus and they have donuts and you're not hungry, grab me a couple, please. Can't you tell? I need the calories. It's going to happen to many of you one of these days. You'll get out of the shower at home. You'll have a full-length shower. You look and you go, "Who's that old person here? I'm going to call the police." No, it's me. All right. So they've got the flash fill thing, and this over on page 319. But I do want to show you about the series if you haven't worked with it yet. So click back on home and come over to cell M12 and put in 5, and then in M13 put 10 and put 15 in the next cell. Now we're creating a pattern, okay? So I'm going to highlight those 3 cells, and I'm going to click up here on the fill, and I'm going to say fill it down, and I can take my, you weasel. You're not being nice. You're not playing nice. You're supposed to do, come and give me 5, 10, 15. So I should be able to start at 20. I'll delete that. Have you used the fill function before? I don't know why my brain goes dead when I'm using the fill function. Okay. And then I'll click the fill. I click down. It didn't do it for, weird. Well, that's one of those. I've probably forgotten more about this than I know. All right, but you could use the fill function if you want to fill it in or to put in a pattern if you care to, and it ought to be able to do that for you, as I so deftly showed you. But that's the flash fill thing. I don't know. This kind of scares me. Now they talk about entering dates and times. That's over on page 320. Okay. Now, as you're sitting here going, I wish he would either drop dead or shut up. And I understand that feeling. Okay. Remember, you're getting a valuable skill. You're learning how to sit through a boring meeting with an obnoxious person. That will take you far in business. Trust me, it will take you far. And I've told my wife, if I die, here's what I hope I've continued to tell the dean and the administration, if I'm going to die in a classroom, I want us to have enough students in there to pick me up like you would, like a wild beast out, you know, it's just been killed, and y'all go running and hollering and have me hoisted and take me down there into the middle of the rotunda where I can lay and repose. And everybody can come by and kick me or whatever. I'll be dead, I won't care. But I'll be in heaven watching you. And I know many of you just said, how do you know you'll be in heaven, Dr. Harmon? God's grace is even big enough to handle me. I was a punk. All right. Entering data and times. Editing and clearing, replacing data. I think you guys have probably, that's over in 321. If we wanted to replace, if we have a repetitive piece of information here and I want to replace it with something new, I just do that. And we do that in the Find and Select tab. Okay. No big deal. Someday I'll learn how to do the fill and do it easily. And about that, that's page 322. And so we've had the trip. So coach me through this here fill thing. I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna put cell M12. I'm gonna put 5. Okay. And then I'm gonna put 10. And I want it to go in increments of 5. So somebody walk me through this. How do I do it? Okay, I'll highlight the 5 and 10. Okay. The little corner thing here, quick analysis. Oh, the little thing. Let's see. Somebody give me a drum roll. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's 50 extra points. Not really, I was lying. But you're appreciated. Thank you. Give me some extra points you don't know. You never know, do you? I know many of you say, no, I'd really rather have some of that Red Bull. I don't want extra points. So thank you very much. I appreciate you taking me through how to do the fill. Okay. Well, what's left? Anything. This has been a comprehensive tour. So now we're going to do 2 things finally. First of all, I'm going to save this. It's saved, and I have it on my desktop. And now what will I do with it? Where will I upload it? So where it says over there, upload me here, or upload here. And I'll go back to the modules. And here we are. And so you want to upload it here. Got it? Now, the other thing I would recommend you do is go ahead and just, if you want, email it to yourself so you'll have it when we work through the next exciting version of this. Okay. Did we cover anything that you had not done or worked with before? No? You'd all done this. Okay. If you have, trust me, we'll ramp it up a little. Okay? That will do it, my friends. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. And as always, I ask one important question at this moment in our time together, and that's what? Why are you people in my lab? Thank you much. If you have a question, I'll try to answer it for you. If not, I will see you on Thursday, and we'll continue the saga of the Celebrity Souvenir Shop. Question? Yes, that's what I would recommend. Yes, do it now. So you've got it there, and you don't lose it, the file. Same thing when we work on the hands-on on Thursday. Okay? Ah, Milwaukee. I see that. Is that where you visited or from? Or?
I went on a mission trip there.
Oh, okay. What? A mission trip. Now, what were you doing up there?
We were helping a church get started. We were doing a BBS for them.
Okay. I've been on mission trips to try to get them to follow the Cardinals and get rid of their team. Well, I guess that's different kind of a mission trip, huh? But
Yeah.
you did VBS and ran those?
Yeah, we did BBS.
Oh, good. Very good. That's a good. Did you enjoy the time? How long were you there?
We were there for, I think, a little under a week.
Okay. What time of year? I hope summer.
I think it was early summer, yeah.
Early summer. Okay. Still a little bit, but it's very pretty up there in the summertime. Yes, it is. If you go too much further into Wisconsin, though, you get into the part up there and in Minnesota where it's infested with nothing but mosquitoes. And you will be feasted upon. Well, thank you much for sharing that. Appreciate
I
it.
do have a question.
Yes.
What is the London?
The The Loudon
Chapter two?
text, that's,
Yeah.
we've talked about that before.
Okay.
The only thing you're responsible for are the assignments that are listed in the
So you don't have to
modules.
worry about this.
That other part is a repository. So I sent the email out, put out an
Okay.
announcement, and it's just a repository over there where I store stuff. Okay. The only thing you're responsible for is what's in the modules. And if you go look at the syllabus, the Loudon text is not in there.
Okay.
So, and if it's not in the syllabus, we're not doing it.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Yes.
I'm trying to see it. I'm trying to
Okay. Your file, did you have it on your desktop?
I saved it.
Where did you save it on your machine?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, click on and save it, resave it on and put it on your desktop. You do that? You should be able to browse up to there.
I mean, I saved it. I just gotta figure out.
Okay. Well, okay. Click here to find the file you've already got. Here's, okay. You want to click there, and that's where you browse your machine to find your file.
No, this is something I've already done.
Okay.
That's not it.
All right, then,
So you choose a file.
yeah.
And then-
Yeah, check that. Try desktop, nothing there. Try.
You can make it a PDF.
Yeah.
I can't make the. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to upload it as,
Yeah, now just send it to yourself, click on file. Click file.
okay.
It's a little paperclip thing. So,
And back over to, come over here to the file. I think this is your file. Wait a minute. No, Excel. Pardon me. Click on the Excel file and click save as.
no,
Just click save. Okay, now close that off. Close the file off. Okay. And then close your.
sorry. No,
That's right.
now just.
Now,
do-
close that down. Now you should be able to click on choose a file to be selected. Yeah. And then you're going to go find the file and upload it.
All right, check. All right, sweet. Thank you.
Just search.
See ya.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it says it's safe, right? Automatically save, so crossbow.
Trying to figure out where you put this thing. Place it's on. Okay, you put it on OneDrive. You need to save it to your documents. So click Documents. Okay, and then click Save, and that should put it in your documents. And then try this. Choose the file. Go down to Documents. And you should find Celebrity. That's strange. You put it on the iCloud? All right, let's do this. Okay, now you've clicked it on Excel. And click on the file. And then click save, click save a copy. and it's going to ask you where to put it. Now put it on. It's going to ask you where to put it. Now put it on your. Click out of it, and you want to put it on. You want to put it on your machine. So I click on your Mac, and it should be there now. There it is. Yeah,
But
that's it.
that's just the.
Just the file.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
not the one that we edited.
Okay, the one you edited. All right.
That's not the one that we edited.
Okay, if you close that off, then, and is the one that you edited still here on Excel?
One.
That's the one that you edited.
Should I just save it as a PDF?
Try that. Yeah. Let's see what we can do. Put it up in documents.
Do I want it as a workbook or a sheet?
You want to, let's do a sheet. Now let's see if you can upload it. Is it there? So you've got it in your clouds document. Oh, there's Celebrity sitting there, XLS. There's the PDF. Choose that one.
So I guess that's it.
Try that.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
All right. You're welcome. It's all right.